What's good YouTube? Welcome to my channel, Large and Conditioning. Progressive overload, what is it and how do you do it? What is progressive overload? Super simple. Progressive overload refers to doing more work over time. This is where people can get confused. A lot of people seem to think that you need to add reps or weight every single session. Even coaches confuses this. However, progressive overload can be more than just adding weight or rep, and especially not every session or every week. At a certain point, that's just not going to be a possibility for you to do. If you try to add weight every single session, at a certain point, you're going to hit your 1 rep max and die. Ways to progressive overload. There are more ways than just adding load or reps to your sessions. You can do extra sets, less rest time, change variations. These are some of the ways that you can actually do progressive overload. But most coaches seem to just add weight or reps and nothing else. However, there are many other ways that you can do it. If you go by adding weight, you need to have a rep range, say 6 to 8 reps across 3 sets, which means the weight needs to be heavy enough for you to be able to hit maximum 8, however at least 6 reps across all 3 sets. If you cannot land between this, it is simply either too light or too heavy, so you need to adjust it. So what you would need to do in order to progressive overload here is that you keep using this weight you can do for 6 reps. Try and increase the reps slowly, set by set, until you are able to do 8 reps per set across all 3 sets. And then you increase the weight, the smallest amount you can possibly do, and then back down to 6 reps. Repeat the pattern, slowly increase 1 rep per set until you're all the way back up to 8, and then increase again. Another way is to reduce the amount of rest that you have. If you normally have 3 minutes of rest between sets and you rest 30 seconds less, instead of doing 8 reps with the weight, you do 6 reps across all your sets. If you then manages to hit 6 reps across all sets with the less rest, then you can try and increase the amount of reps that you do with the reduced rest time. This is also a way to do progressive overloading, and it can also spare you some time in the gym as well. Another way is to increase the amount of sets that you're doing. If you normally do 2 sets on an exercise and you then add a third, this is a big increase in the amount of total poundage that you're actually lifting in a single session. However, you need to be careful, because if you add 1 set extra to all of your exercises all at once, this is a massive increase to your total work volume, which can be a problem. It may not necessarily be right then and now, but it could be in the future. If you normally have 5 exercises, 3 sets apiece, and you add 1 set on all of them, this is a 33% increase in your total volume, which can spell disaster for your recovery. A smart way to approach this is doing 1 set on an exercise and then wait a couple of weeks, then add 1 set on another exercise, and then you continue this pattern until you have added 1 extra set across all your exercises within a session. This will take a few months before you actually get to the point of having increased the total poundage across all your exercises, because you need to do this so your body can actually adapt to it and get used to it. Otherwise you can simply dig a hole for yourself in your own ability to recover. So this is probably the best way you can actually add sets and let your body adapt to the new stimulus every single week. You can also take the opposite approach, which is reduce the amount of sets that you have. Yes, you heard correctly. Now, why does this work? It works because if you know you have 4 sets of an exercise, you know you sort of have to pace yourself in the amount of effort that you put in. However, if you only have 2 or 3 versus your regular 4, you know you need to put in more effort to get the proper stimulus out of your sets. So if you normally do 4 sets on an exercise and you have to do 6 to 8 reps, and you then decrease it to say 2 sets, and across those 2 sets you hit plus 10 repetitions every single time, you know for sure that you were not pushing anywhere near as hard as you actually thought you were doing. So this is a very good way to gauge if you know if you're training hard or not, or if you're holding back. If you take this approach and drastically increase the amount of reps you can actually do across fewer sets, then you know for sure that you're just coasting through your training. So the amount of sets that you're doing were just too much and you were mentally just holding back quite a lot. It would be a lot better in this case if you do 2 good hard sets versus 4 sets where you're holding back so much, because you're stimulating your muscles with the 2 hard sets versus having 4 sets where you're just putting like half your energy into it. So 2 good hard sets will beat 4 sets if the effort is applied. Another way to progressive overload is to change the variation of the exercise that you're doing. If you're doing a regular barbell bench press, you can change this to a Swiss bar, to a floor press, narrow grip, a wider grip. All these changes can actually change the amount of load that you can lift and the weaknesses that you have. You can address these weaknesses by changing the variations, so you can actually apply different growth to different areas, so you can get stronger at different parts of the lift. The benches is just an example. You can do deficit deadlifts, Jefferson deadlifts. There's a bunch of different variations that you can do and then change the exercise that you're doing. This is also a way that you can progressive overload. So, how do you apply this? You simply choose a progression method and then you take this method for 2 or 3 months, and then you use a different method and you keep going through down a list like this. It will take you roughly a year, maybe longer, in the same manner. And by the end of that, you will have become a lot stronger and a lot bigger simply by just following this list of progression. Thank you for watching. Last and conditioning, signing out. I hope you have an awesome day.